at first I was really scared. I was like, oh no, I cannot do this. I cannot cut in and suture, and I have never done this before in my life. So I just observed like for half of the day.
Yeah. Hello everyone! Welcome again to our YouTube channel. Ako day si Ryan.
Oh, ako si Linda. You might notice that we're wearing scrubs today.
Look at my strap, it's so dramatic.
Yeah. We are wearing scrubs because today we will be talking about our experience as nursing volunteers in the Philippines.
Yes, as you may know or as you may not know, we are nurses by profession, and we are sharing to you our experience there when we were in the Philippines the whole year of 2019, and we volunteered in one hospital in Davao City where I came from. The name of the hospital is Isaac T. Rubilio Memorial Hospital, and it's owned by my friend, my very good friend, Ruben Rubilio. And what was your thought about volunteering?
My first thought was, no way, not going to do it for free because nursing is so challenging, so exhausting, and like that. But then, when you told me that about all your experiences in this hospital before and everything you learned and like that, then I was like, maybe we can try.
Yeah.
Like, why not?
We did not actually immediately volunteer when we went to the Philippines January 2019. So it was in the middle of the year, right?
Something like that after a few months.
Yes. What did you think about being in the ER?
In the emergency room.
Yes.
Well, I don't have any experience from the emergency room here in Finland. I don't have experience before in hospital in the Philippines, so I was really scared, like what is going to happen? Can I manage? How like fast will things happen? Or like that. So it was really scary for me.
For me, it was scary because I have been in Finland for almost 10 years already, and I haven't experienced as a nurse there since I left 2009. So it was scary, but at the same time, I was so happy to see some old friends, former co-workers, and yeah, they were still there, and I was so glad to see them and to experience again what it is to be a nurse in the Philippines. Because here in Finland, there is just a specific things that you can do as a nurse, and then there it's more like a lot of like skills. So that's the one that I missed a lot.
Yeah,
So
you get to do a lot of things there that you don't kind of get to see or do here. And also the like atmosphere in the workplace between the nurses, the doctors, and everyone is just so open and friendly. It's kind of very different from here. Like
like
sometimes
playback.
people even stay 1 hour after their shift ended.
Yeah.
That has never happened here.
And also like they joke around, and since we are in the ER, it's just a typical day for us to joke around with the doctors and like that, and suddenly there's an ambulance coming in, and we will hear it before the ambulance comes in the front of the door, and then suddenly all the jokes will just fade away, and then everyone will just be so fast to act what they do and what they need to do, and they're just so amazing, and that's what I really like it there. Yeah.
They just know so much, and they can do so much without all the specialized like equipments and everything. But still, because it's a small hospital, it doesn't have everything. It doesn't have all the machines and everything. So but they can still work with what they have and be creative,
Yes.
make up things like for using, like we had, for example, a baby needs an oxygen mask. Well, there is no oxygen mask of the size for this baby, so they made one out of paper.
Yes, paper. And then to immobilize hands, we use like different things, like from cardboard to a piece of wood, and yeah, and it was really like very interesting for me as well as that I get to experience it again, and definitely for you because it was your first time to see those things like that in that is done that way.
Yeah, because here we are so used to having almost everything that we kind of lost maybe, or we never had that creativity.
Yeah. We say it in the Philippines that nursing is an art, so that's what we do when we don't have all the resources we need. So what was the most challenging part of being a volunteer nurse there in the Philippines?
For me, coming from Finland, from a very different healthcare system, different language, different everything. That was the biggest challenge, like just knowing how to work in a very different environment and different system, because I even though I understand a little bit the language, I didn't speak the language, and didn't understand the orders because they're just said in a different way, and we're using paper to write everything instead of computers. Like everything was just very, very different, and the ER, like working in the ER, is also very different from working in the ward, which I'm used to. So everything was just new, and it was hard for me to work like on my own or independently, because it's just very, very different.
Do you remember when we were sent to ward in one evening or like one night, and then there's only one nurse who
in the whole
ward, and it's good that we were there, but it seems like she's managing very well, even though that she's alone. And then there were like, how many clients were there?
A lot.
Or like
many. Of course, the system in the Philippines is different in that all the patients have
their relative,
at least one person with them. So that makes it maybe in that sense easier than here.
But she was also like writing a lot about each patient, and it was just so amazing to see those again, because I know that it's like that when I was still working there, and it's just so amazing how easy it is to work here, but at the same time it's
not easier, it's just a different type of work, even though it's the same work, but it's just different how we work. So that is the biggest challenge, really, like getting used to that. It just works differently.
Yes.
How about the scariest part?
The scariest part? Well, one case that I remembered is when we were in the operation room, because we also volunteered in operation room from time to time when there is an operation going on. And in that case, it was a cesarean section. Like it was a planned cesarean section. So in that case, it started very nicely, and they even prayed during before starting the operation. The doctors and the nurses, they prayed, and they usually do that, and it's quite a nice gesture. But as the operation progressed, we just noticed that they started to like do things a little bit quicker, and they were like asking things, and suddenly there was a gush of blood coming out from the mother's womb, and the baby was still not out, and until they were really like just asking me to call for more personnel, for more doctors. And then were they ask you something?
Yeah, I remember. I don't remember exactly what it was about, but I was also asked to get someone or something, so I have to run out from the operation room and then back again. And
I have a lot of experience, but that time I really have a very weak. I had a very weak knees, because I was so scared as well, and I passed actually the husband of the patient, and I cannot say anything that was going on, but I just have to run and ask for doctors to come, and the doctors were somewhere else, and I have to say that you have to come here very quickly because they need help. And and then the blood was just everywhere. The doctors was soaked with blood, and then the floor was even like a lot of blood.
And then they got the baby out, and the baby was not crying.
The baby was not crying, and they were in a hurry to resuscitate the child, and
I don't think they resuscitated,
but
somehow stimulate the child to cry. I don't know how long it took. I cannot really remember, or I don't think I could also feel how the time actually went in that situation. But the good thing is that in the end, everyone was fine. The baby started crying. He was okay. The mother was okay. So
yes,
so
I was even there.
Well.
I was even there beside the patient, beside the mom, and I was asked to hold the side of the mom because they were doing something just to get out the baby, and then because of that, the patient might fall from the operation table. So I have to hold with all my force with my weak knees, and I was holding the side of the mom just to make sure that she will not fall. And also the blood were coming onto me, and it was just an experience to remember. And
it was intense.
yeah, it was intense, and it was really like those are the things that I really miss doing. Yeah, and it was amazing how just the things went. I mean, went well in the end. They were just so amazing and very smart doctors that they have there. Very skilled, and they really know what they're doing. And yeah, it was a good experience. What was the most memorable part for you?
Well, one memorable thing was like one doctor that we had a child that needed life-saving measures. Like he needed something that the parents were not able to pay for, because since it's private hospital,
Yeah.
you need to pay unless you have insurance. So the parents were not able to pay. So the doctor said, like, I can pay for this as long as we just save the child now. Like, she just wanted to do something
Yeah.
to save this child's life so much that she was able to put in the money herself from her own pocket just to save this child. And that was really,
A beautiful gesture.
like
as
just
a health
very,
professional.
very nice. It should not, of course,
It should not be like that.
it shouldn't have to
Yeah.
be like that.
Yeah, it should not be like that.
But it was just like it stayed in our minds.
Yeah,
because-
it was just how, like, you know, like working in a healthcare, that she's really a doctor by heart,
Yeah.
and that's what that's just what she wants to do, so to save the child. And for me, the most memorable experience might be that when we resuscitated the child was hit by a car. So I was actually there resuscitating, and then when the doctor was doing, like, checked all over the body, and I was also checking when someone replaced me from doing the
Doing the chest
resuscitation,
compression.
then I noticed that there was a soft part in the head of the child. The child was like 11 years old, something like that. So then they pronounced that it cannot be, that the child cannot be saved anymore. And it was so hard for me after that. I cannot even stand. I went immediately to the corner. Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember. It was really hard. Even as we got home, it was still really hard for
Yeah, I was crying. I was crying because
traumatic to see like that and like not be able to do anything.
and it was even like it was just so hard moment because the person who ran over the child was there, and I'm sure she did not mean to do that, and
No, it was just really an accident.
it was just an accident. It was just so hard to comprehend that this young child lost his life. And I mean, the harder part was that when the mom and then the grandma was there, and they cannot just understand the whole thing, and it took them a while to go to the hospital, to reach that hospital, because they live in the mountain. Yeah. How about your Operation Tulip? Yeah, we did, right? Operation Tulip.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so what was your idea, impression, your experience about that?
Well, maybe you first tell something. What is Operation Tulip?
Yeah,
For someone
well,
who doesn't know.
Yeah, Operation Tulip, by the way, is a circumcision. It's a seasonal event in the Philippines where we circumcise young boys, and we go to remote areas in the Philippines. We gather all the professionals, from doctors to nurses to even hairdressers, to reach a remote area and to give them this free service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the main point is like offering circumcision of these boys.
Yes.
Because that's just a tradition in the
Yeah,
Philippines.
it's a tradition.
Part of culture, and they also find it to be more hygienic.
Yes,
And like that. So it's really something that pretty much all boys will
in the Philippines will
will
go
go
through.
through, yeah.
Yes.
So for me, we don't really do circumcision here.
In Finland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I didn't really know what to think about it. Do I agree with it? Because it's still like taking something, like cutting in someone's body, and it feels like if it doesn't have to be done, why do it? But then again, it's likely to be done either way.
Yeah.
And sometimes in very unhygienic ways. So
Yes.
I was like, okay, if we can do it the proper way, of course the best way would be to do it in the hospital, in a clean environment and all that. But at least we could do it with clean equipment, with
Trained
professionals instead of some
yes.
random quack doctor.
Yeah.
and then also local anesthesia, antibiotics, painkillers,
yes.
all of that. So why not? Like, first I was really scared. I was like, oh no, I cannot do this. I cannot cut in and suture, and I have never done this before in my life. So I just observed like for half of the day.
Yeah.
And just learn how to do the suturing and all of that. And then in the afternoon, I did
Yeah,
it
you
on my
did.
own.
You did in your own,
And it was, I mean, it was fine, and I learned a lot about challenging yourself, and also like really practical skills of suturing. And
like
that.
cutting the skin,
which is really
and then
scary.
and even injecting anesthesia, we have to do it by ourselves
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah.
it was interesting.
It was interesting and scary, but also very, like, it taught me
Rewarding.
a lot. Yeah.
Maybe rewarding.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And then just knowing that at least these boys do not go to some untrained person with a dirty knife, and
which
then
could
get
cause
infected
infection.
and-
Yeah, that's much worse. So that's all, I guess. And what we can really say is that there's a lot of well-trained nurses in the Philippines. That's what we
Yes.
see.
I'm very
Yeah.
amazed always with the Filipino nurses, like all the
Yeah.
knowledge that they somehow can fit in their head.
Even though
Like-
they're small.
Like, we're supposedly having the same education, but I don't remember all those things that they
Yeah.
do, and I don't have like all those. Like, I have skills, but it feels like they just have more. No, I'm just really impressed by
Yes.
Filipino nurses. Yeah.
And we just want to say thank you to Isaac Rubilio Memorial Hospital, especially to my friend Ruben Rubilio, who accommodated us there, and it was really wonderful experience. Thank you, guys, and thank you to the nurses there.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for your kindness and for your acceptance towards us. Thank you. Yes. And if you like contents like this from us, please don't forget to subscribe and share this video so that we will be encouraged to share more about our profession, about anything about our life. So, bye!
Bye, and thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching. Ako dahil si Ryan. Ryan? Isa man to. Again.
Wait.
Okay,
Let me
let's-
breathe a little bit. Don't. Whew. You might notice that we're wearing scrubs today.
Yeah, because we are nurses.
Yeah, and today.
Ako dahil si Ryan. Nausan ako dahil. Mag-inis ako tulog.